CEM Planner, Module 2, Lesson 4, Internal Approval Process. Module 2, Objectives. Upon completion of this module, users will have the ability and knowledge to function as a system administrator for their agency. Users will have input or created a portion of their agency plan. Users will have the ability and knowledge to share plans with other users and set permissions of those users. Users will receive a draft copy of their plans, submit a section for approval, and prepare a plan for the review team. Lesson 4 Objectives. Upon completion of this lesson, users will receive a draft copy of their plans, submit a section for approval, and prepare a plan for the review team.
This lesson is going to cover the GET report. So the GET report is something that we use quite often when we're reviewing our plan or want to get a copy of our plan to put in our hands, hold, to print, or email out. To see how this process works, we're going to go into our functional plans today, and we're going to choose our ESF2 for this one. Once we are in our plan, now as a reminder, this works the same for every plan, whether it's a functional plan, incident event plan, site facility plan, or even a basic plan. This screen is the same. What this GET report feature does for us is gives us this printout. Now, one thing to remember here is when we're going through and we're making edits to our plan, we edit each one of these sections individually. So you'll see a lot of times on the screen that there's a lot of white space under, say, purpose and scope of the operations. What the GET report feature does is it actually takes each one of these individual sections you can see here, clears out some of that white space, and crushes them all together and creates one comprehensive plan. So once we click on Get Report, we see up here there's a few choices to make, with table of contents, with table of figures with SOP, and then download. No matter what we do, we always want to check with table of contents. A lot of times we don't have table of figures or with SOP, but we always want with table of contents. Now, like I said previously, this is going to take every section of our plan, crush it into one, and give us a printout. The way that it does this, though, isn't sends you a Word document of the plan. It actually sends you a link, and here's what we're going to show you. So we click download. You're informed that your request is being processed, and you'll get emailed with a link to download your plan or report. Now, this feature takes some time. It's not instantaneous. It takes somewhere around 5-10 minutes. Sometimes it takes a lot longer because the plan size is bigger. If after 30 minutes you have not gotten a plan, just email one of the PIMA administrators, let them know, and they'll go through the process to clear that out, and you'll probably have to do the GET report again. But sometimes some plans are so large, they kind of time out the whole system for everybody. Nothing to worry about, just let the PIMA administrator know. So what we're going to see here is this is the email we receive. Now, one of the great things about this email is as long as you don't have pa.gov blocked, you'll get the email. This is what it's going to look like. Your request report has been generated. It's coming from Previstar notification at pa.gov, and click here, download your report. The reason that we don't email this Word document to you is in some cases people put diagrams, images, and other items. These other items that may be in there, those pictures, diagrams, might make the file size too large to be sent. Therefore, you'll never receive it. It could get blocked, or it could be removed to your whatever folder because it was too big of a file. It won't work with your email. Or it could be such a big file that it won't even come in because you don't have enough room left on your drive for your email. So we send you this link here, and it says click here to download your report. We click here, depending on what version of Word you're using or what version of either Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, whatever, you might get this or a pop-up down at the bottom. You click it, you'll notice that it's opening in Word 365. And here we have our ESF2 Communications Annex. Now, this is a Word document. Here's our table of contents, and here are all those sections where we've cut out a lot of that white paper and crunched it all together. Another feature of this is it formats all of the sections to an appropriate position, and if somebody used a different font, the Get Report feature converts it all to the determined font size and type that we've picked for this plan. So it does a lot of things. This Word document at this point, if there are minor formatting things that you don't like about it, you can always adjust those. Maybe there's too many spaces, not enough. You can always adjust those in the Get Report, this Word document. It doesn't change anything in the planning process, but some people want things a certain way for their plans. It's all right. It's a Word document, edit as need be. Then after that, you can send this email out or this Word document out to others. You could PDF it and send it out if it's the final one, which you'll talk about after the review and the approval process later in the training. So the Get Report gets you your report, completed plan, in a Word document. And sometimes it's not always the final plan. It could be just somebody works better with a pen and ink changes and a piece of paper to review it, or some people like it on the screen. But it gives you that comprehensive one plan in one location that you can either email the link, save the Word document, email it out, or PDF it and email it out that way, or put it on a thumb drive, a CD drive, and provide to those individuals that may need a copy of this as either a final plan or is this being done as a draft. As always, if you have any questions on how to do this process of the Get Report, you can always go to the reference library in the global folder, find the PDF marked Get Report, and go through the process, or contact one of the PIMA administrators. This is going to cover the internal approval process. This section today is going to cover the I concur and the approval of an individual plan. Now these are internal to your agency or entity. These would be used by groups of people working in the same office on the same plan. We're going to go to our test plan that we've been working with, and we're going to look at what we're talking about. The first part that we're going to talk about is the I concur. As you can see here on our plan, we have this I concur button. What this is used for is so that multiple people who are working on one plan can all kind of give their input on the plan. An individual can go into the plan, into this section, they can view that and decide yes or no. If they agree with it, they would check the I concur, meaning they're good to go with it. Not everybody is going to use this portion of the I concur. Usually done with larger groups of people that are all putting their input on a plan. Here at PIMA, we utilize this feature whenever we're working on the Commonwealth Emergency Operations Plan, because we have multiple planners that are working on it, and once all the planners agree on that section, we all go in, we would click the I concur, and you could see over here it does date and time that you concurred, moving through, and hopefully you would have all the planners there before you move on to the approval. So this I concur stays with the version of the plan. This plan we were working in, if we go back to a previous version, the concur does not follow that previous version. So it would only be with that current version of where that would go. So if there would be an update made, the concurred would go away and it wouldn't be seen there because there's been an update to the plan. What this allows is if there's a change to the plan, that all those planners working on it know of that change. That's what this helps with here. Like we said, not all of them are going to be used. If you don't concur, you can always go over here and to add and view comments. This lets you add comments. Needs better grammar, which of course this lets you not have great grammar. And you could put that in as a comment. All those on it, when they log in, they would actually have a icon with a little yellow star that would say new comment, so they could see what comments were left. Now, all of the concurs and the comments stay with that current version. If we were to have a different version, so if this were to change because we uploaded a new version, all of those concurs and comments would stay with that one only, so that everybody would know what the most current version is and that we're all on the same plan going forward as to what we understand. Now, the next part that we're going to talk about is the approval plan. In this situation where we have multiple people concurring, our supervisor would then see everybody's concurred, and then they could very easily go in and submit for approval. Now, depending on how the system's set up and who's working in it, this approval is mainly for that internal. So if this case, the supervisor approved it, which would then let the bureau director know that they have to go in and do their part, or however your internal agency and entity does your approvals for these types of plans. The reason we call this the internal approval plan is this is the part that doesn't go outside of your entity or agency. So if you're a school district, all that's going to stay in the school district. If you're a county, it's going to stay in the county, a municipality, When we move into Module 3, there is a process that we have, the directed review process, that pushes it out of your entity to other entities or agencies to approve and review for appropriate content. This is just the internal. So once all the planners have reviewed it and concurred, our supervisor would approve it or submit for approval, and then the bureau director could come in and approve it. Because they're a chief planner, or I'm a chief planner for this one, I can actually click and it's approved. Now, what this does is it will not allow other people, if they are a different level, not a chief planner, to go in and make edits on this. It locks it out so that no edits can be made. If a chief planner does go in and make an edit, just like we said with the concur, the approval of this section is going to get kicked out, and it's back to the under development phase. So what we've covered today so far was the I concur, and once again, that may not be used by everybody, and the approval of a plan in the internal approval process. This may not be used by everybody. For some you will, some you will not. That's totally up to your agency and how you utilize these two tools, but we did want to cover them of how their functions are and how they can benefit you. If you have any questions, once again, please contact the PEMA administrator or your county or municipal administrator.